Edition of the Art Lewis Show. Brand new week, the 7th day of April. And our thanks to Westside Decorating Center, 5789 State Street in Saginaw. They are sponsoring our program, and we truly appreciate it. Stop in for everything you need home decorating-wise. 5789 State Street in Saginaw, Westside Decorating Center. Later on, we'll have open phones for most of the program right through 11:25 this morning because no guest on Focus. But we're going to start out this hour talking to someone we chat with regularly to get an update on what's happening in Lansing. And he is the 97th District State Representative. We say good morning to Matthew Bierlein. Matthew, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you today?
Hey, we're doing well. Hope you are too. And maybe spring will be sprung pretty soon.
The weather doesn't look all that great this week.
No.
But hopefully it's coming.
It's one of the few things you can do nothing about, though. So,
Very true.
Oh, my goodness. So let's talk about Lansing budget-wise. This is a year, like every year, where there has to be a budget. Making any progress, and do you see any bipartisanship in what's coming?
So governor put out her recommendation, around $84 billion. That does not include extra road funding. The GOP is going to put out a plan that includes road funding inside that $84 billion. That's a lot of money, and we think we can do both. But when it comes to bipartisanship, we know that we can't pass a budget that's going to be strictly the GOP budget, and the Senate Dems can't pass a budget that's going to be strictly their budget. It's going to have to be an agreement. All the parties are going to have to vote for it to get it to pass, and the governor has to sign it. So it'll have to be bipartisan. What exactly that looks like, or where the compromise comes in, I think we'll start to hear more about that as we get closer to the end of June, maybe into July. But as of right now, I think, and Chair Bolin in the House has her subcommittees working on their budget recommendations and their pieces of the budget. And when we get back from the legislative in-district break, then we should have a better idea of what that's starting to look like and how that's starting to shape up.
When is that break?
So the Senate, I believe, is back in session tomorrow, and the House is back in session the next week.
So let's talk about some of the things you're involved in, like the House Oversight Subcommittee. Tell us what that does and what you do on it.
Yeah, so I'm vice chair of the Oversight Committee, and then the Oversight Committee has 6 subcommittees. I'm chairing the subcommittee on public health and food security, and then I'm serving on the subcommittee on corporate subsidies and state investment. So the Oversight Committee is really designed to look at what are state residents getting from their state government. Like I mentioned, we have an $84 billion budget. That budget is administered throughout the state through the different departments. How are those departments interacting with the citizens of this state? What things are they doing well? What things are they not doing well? What can we really learn about the things they're not doing well? And then when we get those findings, we give that to one of the policy committees, and they can adjust policy based on those findings. So just recently, we had, most committee meetings take about an hour and a half. That's the allotted amount of time for a committee meeting. We had a 3-hour and 15-minute committee meeting a few weeks ago, just about the Department of Energy, Great Lakes, and Environment, or Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, EGLE. And we invited them to take part in the committee. They decided they didn't want to. So really we had 3 hours of testimony from citizens of this state, businesses and private individuals, farmers, talking about the problems that they have had with the department, the continuous moving goalpost for what regulations look like. Even a local resident in Freeland, the Wenslicks, who dug a pond, they went to the township and asked for a permit, and the township told them they didn't need one. So they hired a contractor who came in and said, yeah, based on your size and your land, this isn't something I would have to pull a permit for. And they dug a pond, and then over a year later, Eagle came in and said, no, you needed a permit from us. We want you to fill it in, and it's going to cost you about $160,000.
Yeah. I have a question about...
So, these are the things that are not good.
Yeah, I have a question, though. You said something interesting, that they declined to appear. How can a governmental agency, which the legislature funds, decline to appear in front of a legislative committee designed for their oversight?
They are technically a separation of power. The agencies, the departments are all part of the executive branch. There are clear distinctions between the three branches of government. So they probably can make that decision. I don't think it's a good decision for them to make. I don't think it looks good. And the committee does have subpoena power. We don't want to use subpoena power, right? We'd like to work together. We're all trying to do the same thing. We want to provide for the citizens of this state, and we want to make sure that this is the place where people can thrive, businesses can thrive, kids can thrive. And so we hope that we don't have to use subpoena power, and maybe after we had that committee, hopefully in the future, the department will change its mind about participating.
Now, the couple in Freeland that had that pond, did they fill it, or can they appeal that decision?
They're still fighting that.
Good.
And I think they plan to continue fighting it. One of the problems is they can fight it in court, and they're going to spend a lot of money fighting it in court. And if they win, they're just out all of that money.
One way or another, they're going to be caught, yeah.
It's going to cost them. So that is actually one of the pieces of legislation that I'm working on that came about because of this situation specifically, is that if you are involved in legal action with the state and you win, that you should be able to recoup legal fees, where right now you can't do that. So just one of the things I'm working on, but it came about as a result of working with this family in Freeland.
All right, hang on, Matthew. We'll take a break. We'll come back for one more segment as we're talking to Matthew Bierlein, State Representative from the 97th District. More ahead.
Join us for Our Kids.
A lot less, but people are actually happier with it. That sounds like something to look at.
All right, we're back with you here on WSCW, the Art Lewis Show. And with us is State Representative Matthew Bierlein, 97th District Representative. You mentioned, Matthew, that in the budget proposal, of course, in the governor's proposal, the road funding didn't look anything like what the Republicans have come up with in the House. The first question I have before we get to the specifics of the road funding, if it's an $84 billion budget, do we have that kind of income in the state now?
We do. So we do have the income for that. Most of my colleagues would say that if we have that kind of income, we probably have room, for a tax decrease overall for the citizens of Michigan, and then to refocus our efforts on infrastructure with that money. But yes, so the budget in Michigan, we have to have a balanced budget. The budget does reflect our current income levels.
So let's talk about roads. And when I say roads, I'm not talking about federal or state roads. I'm talking about city streets and county roads. What's the proposal, and how long would it take to get them fixed?
So, we're looking at $3.5 billion, or $3.135 billion. The governor's proposal was similar in price, but funds it differently. So our plan looks at realigning existing funds, making sure that everything you pay at the pump goes directly to roads, which is not the case right now, and it also it eliminates some corporate some current corporate tax credits that would then be reallocated to the road funding mechanism. So we think that that's the way to do it. Go ahead.
If you do that, and everything at the pump tax-wise goes to the roads, how do you replace the funding to education and other places where it goes now?
Yeah, so what we would do is, I mentioned those corporate tax credits that currently exist. Those would be reallocated to school funding as well as some general fund dollars. We have that commitment to the schools. We're going to make those payments. We're going to make sure that they're held harmless.
Right.
But when people pay for gas, most people think that everything they pay for gas taxes is going to the pump. And what they don't realize is that on top of the gas tax that they're paying, they're also paying sales tax. And then those sales tax dollars are what gets divided up amongst schools and in revenue sharing to local units. So our plan keeps everybody held harmless. We think $84 billion is enough money to invest in roads, and the money's there, and we should do it.
Has there been any discussion across the aisle about it?
I would imagine that those negotiations are probably happening, maybe a little bit above my pay grade, or maybe they're just happening between transportation chairs or the two budget chairs. We voted on the package in the House, the road funding. Every bill passed. I don't remember the exact votes, but I think most of them passed in a bipartisan manner. We know that we need to fix this infrastructure, and we like to call it the driveway to highway infrastructure that has been neglected, and that's what needs the most work. Oh. Did I lose you there, Art?
Hang on. Got a microphone
Okay.
problem. I got to get a microphone over here because mine is not functioning at the moment. Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. My mic went off. It wouldn't turn on again. Would you reallocate some of that money to my microphone? Anyway.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah. So, just to continue on this local roads vein.
Yep.
Excuse me. If your plan, as it sits, actually becomes part of the budget, how long before local communities see some of those dollars and can start actually working on their roads?
Yeah, so it'll be in the next fiscal year, right? So when the budget gets passed, the end of September fiscal year, then the communities would see that. They should see it right away, starting in the fiscal year 26. And so, for Saginaw County, our plan would increase their county portion from $24.9 million to $52.4 million.
Oh wow!
That's a huge increase.
Yeah.
Most of the county, all of the counties in my district would see a doubling of what they currently get. And the municipalities that have their own road funding mechanisms, most of them, it's around 140-150% increase from where they're currently at. And so we're talking about real dollars that we know they don't go as far as they used to, but we have to start from somewhere, and we think this is a great place to start. I mean, $3 billion is nothing to shy away from.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Has there been, because it's pretty soon to tell, but with the tariff situation in Washington and the knock on the markets right now, much impact in Michigan yet that you can tell?
We haven't seen real impact yet. I think we've seen a lot of interpretations of what that could be or what we think it's going to look like. Obviously our auto manufacturing industry has some reluctancy about this. I don't know what it looks like. Tariffs are a tax, and not really a fan of taxes in general. But they're a tax that are being charged to us right now by every other country in the world with the goods that come out of our country. So it doesn't seem completely unreasonable that the U.S. would have their own system of tariffs.
Yep.
I think, it's a time will tell kind of situation. And, hopefully the economic impact is small and all of this happens pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, look, I want to thank you for spending a little time with us this morning, and we'll keep in touch as always.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and always nice talking with you, Art.
Same here. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, bud.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Matthew Beerline, 97th District State Representative. We thank him for joining us this morning. We'll have open phones for the remainder of the program right through about 11:25 this morning. And 752-6111, 989-752-6111 is the number to call. I want to take a moment for some acknowledgement that has to do with you and Colorado. And you're going, what? This past Saturday evening in Detroit at Motor City Casino was the presentation of Broadcast Excellence Awards by the Michigan Association of Broadcasters. Right now, sitting in our lunchroom are 3 Merit Awards, 5 Best Awards, and the Station of the Year Award for WSGW. I will endeavor to go in during a break here and get a list of what we won. But the reason I say thank you to you and to Colorado, none of this would happen without you, the listener, nor would this have happened without Colorado Broadcasters Association judging the Michigan entries. All the broadcast associations around the country, when they have their Excellence Awards, they send out the samples to another association outside of their state so that the judging is purely impartial, because most of the people don't know who we are. So the Michigan Awards this year were judged by the Colorado Broadcasters Association, and we thank them for that. So we'll tell you what those awards were, and I will tell you that I'm very pleased that this is not the first time I won the Personality of the Year for Market 2 Radio, and truly appreciate the acknowledgement. I've won it before, and last year I was runner-up, but I was runner-up to somebody who I hoped would win and did. And you hear him on our Shades of Gray program on the weekends. Last year, Kareem Bowen won the award, and I was runner-up to Kareem. And while sitting down at the gala last year, I was telling everybody at the table, because it's unusual that in one category, two personalities from the same radio station are the finalists. I was telling everybody at the table, I said, oh, Kareem's going to win. And I meant that sincerely, and I hoped he did, and he did win. Mainly because of the nature of the program that he does and how he does it. And it was wonderful. this year, I was nominated again, and I was up against, believe it or not, a gardening show in Grand Rapids. And I listened to a part of that show, and the gal that does it is very, very good. And I figured, oh, well, okay. Because I had won Personality of the Year a few years ago, so I didn't think, I'm not going to get it again. But as fate would have it, I did. So thanks to you, the audience, and the Colorado broadcasters for all the awards and Station of the Year again. All right, we're going to take a pause, and then we will be back again. It is open phones, 989-752-6111. We talk about Quick Lane Freeland next to my car dealer, McDonald Ford. Quick Lane Freeland is the one stop for all your routine maintenance to keep your car in tip-top shape. Oil changes, brakes, batteries, and, of course, what we've been talking about for a couple of months now, tires, because they're selling them, brand new tires, for just $5 over cost, and not off-brands. These are the biggies: Michelin, Goodyear, BF Goodrich, just to name a few. And not only can you buy them just $5 over cost, but some of these tires carry an additional $60 to $100 in rebates. There is extra for installation, including balancing and lifetime tire repairs. They have a wonderful customer lounge with internet and free ice cream bars and all kinds of goodies for you at Quick Lane Freeland, right next to my car dealer, McDonald Ford, where you can stop in if you're in the market for an automobile and look at the Ford lineup, or their extensive pre-owned selection. And remember that many of those Fords are tariff-free. You'll find it all waiting for you at McDonald Ford, and all your routine service and tires at Quick Lane Freeland. Stop in today.
Covenant Healthcare helps.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW, the Art Lewis Show. One of the things, if you happen to be a lottery player, you will notice this week, the Mega Millions jackpot, your chances of winning have increased, but so has the cost, because the cost of a ticket will now be $5, up from $2. And it increases the odds of winning a prize. They will improve, if you call this improving, from 1 in 24 overall to now 1 in 23 overall. And, of course, your chances of winning the big and bigger jackpots, instead of being $1,302,575,350 to 1, it now improves instead of being, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. It's 1 to 302,000 plus used to be. Now it's 1 to 290,000 plus. There, you're much better chances. But they do expect the jackpots will be larger, and the non-jackpot prizes will now be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 times larger than they are today. And the jackpots will start at $50 million instead of $20 million. And this first drawing at the new wage base and the new prize structure will be tomorrow, April 8th. They're saying it's new and improved. Of course, the tax situation, if you win, won't be any different. Won't be any better, that's for sure. But I don't know. At $5 a ticket, I mean, the odds haven't increased that much that it kind of guarantees you'll get something out of it. I don't know. I'm not much of a player. I mean, you know, like everybody else, you know, the jackpots get to be enormous, and you're tempted just to plunk down a buck because you know you can't win if you don't play. But on a regular basis at $5 a ticket, I'm not so sure. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Truly interesting. So if you're a player, dig a little deeper this week if you're playing Mega Millions. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how big those jackpots grow. I mean, let's face it. You hear that there's a jackpot of $1 billion+. We don't relate well to that. So what's this going to be now? $2 billion? Who knows? Who knows? But if you play, just get your $5 bills out instead of your $2 bills. All right, we'll take a pause. Again, we're open phones now until 11:25 this morning. So 989-752-6111. Whatever you'd like to chat about, give us a call.
Lots of doctors can.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW, and we'll head to the phones. Carl's in Saginaw. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Art. You may have noticed there's been a little bit of turmoil in the stock market the last few days.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
just a little. I saw that the investment firm Morgan Stanley, they're now saying there's a 60% chance of a recession this year. That's up from 40% last week.
Yeah, and last year they were all telling us we're going to get a recession. And, you know, I have to be honest, Carl, I don't pay much attention to it. And I don't look at my portfolio every day because it's depressing if you do. I'm in it for the long haul. And history has shown us that this market is resilient. It'll bounce back. And I just can't get my, can't get myself up in a tither over it.
But if we go into a recession, then there's a good chance we won't get this back. I heard that.
I beg to differ with you. We've been in recessions. I've been in recessions before,
yes,
and we've got it back every time.
Well, $5 trillion in wealth is gone. Poof! It's just gone. That's going to take a lot of getting back.
So tomorrow, if the market were to rebound, let's say 1,000 points tomorrow, how much of that wealth would have been returned instantly? And the day after that, I mean, you just don't know, do you? I mean, that's the way the markets work. You have the wealth, you don't have the wealth today, and I understand that. And people worry about it, 401ks and all that stuff. But then it comes back, and actually, and what's interesting about this. And history has proven this, too. When you have these kinds of downturns in the market, people who have been smart with their money will buy. And guess what? They become the big winners. Now, you don't try and time the bottom because you can't. Nobody can. But, is this a good buying opportunity right now? Now, I'm not an investment advisor, and I don't want to give advice. But if I had the coin lying around, I'd probably buy right now.
Art, I think in a traditional economy, I think that might be true, but today.